Verizon Wireless finally has a top-of-the-line Windows Phone 8 handset from Nokia. But is it everything you imagined it would be, or is it just a little too late? Here's a look at the Nokia Lumia 928. The Lumia 928 veers from the path that we've seen Nokia take in recent devices because this is a little different. Typically with Nokia devices, you see it curves a little more. This is more flat on the side. You see that? It's also flat on the bottom. And you notice there isn't the bold color choices that they've made in the past. And because of that, it's just a regular white background. It's very glossy, as you can see here. When you hold the phone, the flat edges don't feel as nice as you've seen on other Lumia devices because they're kind of digging into your palm, and it's nice to have a solid grip on it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel as nice as you've seen in previous devices. Moving on to other areas of the phone, you see that it is a 4.5-inch display, so it's familiar in that regard, but the difference here is that it's an OLED display. So you notice that the red here is very bright red. It's very saturated because it's OLED, but it doesn't have that weird bluish tint to it when you see the white background. The white looks very clean and nice on here. I don't have any problems with that. So they did a good job, and they've also done a very good job of making it visible outside. That's one thing you're not going to have an issue with on the high-end Nokia phones, and that's not an issue here. Nokia also did some fumbling around with where they put things. For instance, the dual speakers that you typically see, are gone. You have them on the back now. Now the volume on here is high enough, but the actual sound quality is not as good as what you've seen in past Lumia devices. They also have a change of pace with the flash. Right here you have the visible xenon flash. This is designed to get more of a detailed scene when you're doing photos at night. So instead of just putting a bunch of flash on your subject, it's actually going to spread the flash out a little more and capture more of the area so you get more of the background. Now, sometimes the tint that it puts on people's skin tone is not as nice, but other than that, it can improve sometimes how it does things when you're taking low light photography. You'll also notice that right here you have the LED flash. That's because when you're doing video, if you need a persistent light, you need to have LED. So they have both xenon for photos and they have LED for video. While we're on the subject of the camera, it has an 8.7 megapixel camera. Carl Zeiss Pure View as typical usual. So you have pretty much what you saw on the Lumia 920 is going to be what you see on the Lumia 928 for Verizon. Because there are so many things similar between the 920 and the 928, let's just quickly go through what you've seen before so you know what to expect once again. It has a 2000 milliamp battery that's integrated, so there's no way for you to access it or replace it in any way. It's 32 gigabytes of internal storage, no micro SD slot, unfortunately. But on the bright side, it has a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor, a gig of RAM, and you'll notice that it moves pretty smoothly when it transitions between things, and that's more because of Windows Phone 8. Pretty much Windows Phone 8 across the board, you're going to get a nice and fast, like buttery experience when you're loading apps or when you're using the phone in general. One problem that you will run into in performance-wise is sometimes when you go to an app, you see this loading screen more often than not, and it can take a while for those type of things to come up, and it gets very annoying. But once an app is loaded, it loads things pretty quickly, and it performs tasks very quickly. So you should have a good experience there. Of course, it has NFC capability, so you can tap and pair. You can wirelessly transfer information. And speaking of wireless, if you get a separately available wireless charging pad, put your phone down, and then you notice you hear that little vibration? Now my phone is charging. There's nothing going on towards the bottom of the device, but at the top you have a micro USB charging port, a headphone jack, and a micro SIM slot. So in case you want to get something besides the 4G LTE data on Verizon, if you travel internationally, you can just plug in another SIM card. Also, I mentioned that it has a 4.5-inch display, but did I also mention that you can actually use gloves with it? If you turn the sensitivity on high for touch, you can actually use it even if you're wearing winter gloves. Now these are capacitive gloves, but they're only in the finger and the thumbs. You see I'm not using either one of those fingers, and I'm still able to operate the phone. There haven't been many changes to Windows Phone 8 since it debuted last year, and that's kind of a good and a bad thing. The good thing is it's still very fast on the Lumia 928 and you still get a good experience. But on the bright side, there have been some changes, like this app for Pandora, which was not available before. It's now available, and it's a great a solution for music streaming. Another app that wasn't available before, you've got Hulu Plus now, so you can watch on-demand video of your favorite TV shows. Unfortunately, there's still some things missing, like Instagram. There are a few other marquee apps that are missing, but at the same time, the app situation has definitely improved over the last 6 months. What matters most and what's going to track you most is the stuff that comes pre-installed. For instance, the People application is really good because it allows you to keep track of people that you follow on social networks or in your contact list. You can also have groups. So if I have a group of my internet friends that I want to keep track of, I can always get to them easily, see their most recent update. I can tap on them and see all the communication that I've had with them. You can also get that view for yourself. When you go down to the People application right here, or the Me application, I should say, you can see how people are responding to you. So you can post an update or see everything that people have done for Twitter, Facebook, Hotmail, email. Anything that you link is going to appear here. Aside from that, there's Outlook, or Office, I should say. Outlook's coming later. Office is the best experience you're going to get on a mobile device because, surprise, it's made by the people who created the software. It's very good because you can create or edit or read Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, all of those things. And as you tend to do things on your mobile device, you're going to use up a lot of data, and that's where DataSense comes in handy because it allows you to set your monthly limit of how much data you can use, and then it breaks down how you're using it. So I've been doing a lot of Tumblr on mobile, so it should tell me, hey, maybe I want to use Tumblr on Wi-Fi more often. That's going to be a good way to track your activities and see what you're doing wrong, or maybe not wrong, but see what you're doing that's using up your data ahead of time. Unfortunately, it feels like Nokia tried a little too hard with the 928. There are changes that they made to this device that make it feel like they made them just for the sake of change. Just to say, to try to discourage people from making comparisons to the Lumia 920. But unfortunately, that's an inevitable comparison, and it doesn't stack up in that regard. You see, with the 920, it was thick, and this is a little bit thinner, but not that much thinner. You see, it was big. This isn't really big, so that's not much of an issue. This is actually a little bit bigger, and it's not as comfortable to hold. With the 920, it kind of just rests comfortably in your thumbs. With the 928, it's more of a challenge to grip it and to hold it, and that's kind of disappointing. The buttons on the side aren't as easy to get to. The speaker is not as good. The camera is still very good there, obviously. The display is still very good, even though they made the switch to OLED. If you're not a fan of OLED, I don't think you'll have a problem with this device. Basically, if you've always wanted the 920 but you've been stuck on Verizon, or because they've got better coverage in your area, or just because you are on a family plan or something, you finally have an option from Nokia that's good. If you weren't a fan of the 8X but you still wanted to give the Windows Phone a try, you finally have that device that you can turn to. For everyone else, it's kind of hard to find a reason to say this is better than the iPhone, or this is better than the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One that's coming to Verizon. But if you're a Windows Phone fan, I think this might be something that you'll definitely want to consider over the Windows Phone 8X. But this is the Nokia Lumia 928. It is a good phone. Sadly, it's a phone that's not as good as it could have been 6 months ago. There's no reason for them to wait this long. But if bygones are bygones, the past is the past. This is available now, and you can head to Verizon and get this for only $99, which is pretty good. This is Andrew from MobileBurn.com taking a look at the Nokia Lumia 928. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please click like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.